Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Bind and I'm about to do a little midnight thumbnail sketch session. So, got myself a coffee and let's see what we can do. Now, first of all, what are thumbnails? Most of you know this, of course. Thumbnailing is a technique that has been around forever, and artists, as well as graphic designers, I might add, use it to generate ideas, to get something from nothing, to try to get ideas as quickly as possible on the paper, make iterations as quickly as possible. Today, in this session, I'm going to do it in black and white. Let's see, maybe add a little color to it. Also, if you don't know how this works, if you've never done this, don't worry. Do it pretty much from zero. So yeah, let's jump right into it. All right, we are in Photoshop. So, first of all, what we need to do is we need to generate a canvas with some spaces to be able to start, have some fun. So I want you to make a new canvas. Yeah, it can be pretty big, so you might take into consideration the resolution of your monitor, stuff like that. So I'm on 1440p, so let's see, for now let's do maybe 8000 width, and then something like, I'm planning to do a series of 3 next to each other, and I will do squares to start out. I will tell you in a minute why. So maybe squares, if you do 3 by 3, it would be 9000. And then maybe some space in between. So maybe we need 9, well, 10 would be good, I guess. And then a height of maybe with some space, maybe 4. Right, all of this, yeah, make sure we are on sRGB. So it will look something like this, right? Make sure I'm not covering it up or anything. So first of all, this is way too bright for my taste, so we'll see. Let's have some gray there in the background. And then what I usually like to do is create some layers. So these layers, they will work as our small canvases within the canvas, basically. So let's see, can I set up a shape like this? Right, so if you click that, the rectangle tool, you are able to punch in some pixels. So this is a good method to use here, because that way we can make sure that it's the size, exactly the size we want, and not anything crooked or just an estimation. Do it from center, does it matter? No, it doesn't. Yeah, I can't see it because I'm a genius and I did not really put this on a different color, so anyways, let's try again. Hit here 3 squared, 3000, that is. Right, so we got a square. And now, well, this I can eyeball the distance. So we don't need that. Well, can't leave that. I'm just duplicating the layer, getting myself 3 of these squares. Let's see. Well. Of course, I need a little bit of distance in between so that I can tell. It will usually tell me no. well, yeah, in InDesign it would tell me if it's the same space, but that's not an issue. So that's really no problem. So that's our setup here. I will just delete this layer quickly, even though I will add layers in just in a second again, just to not be too confusing. So what we got here is we got 3 sub canvases, so to speak. Yeah, so what is the goal? Goal is to do something simple, something fast, and something that is iterative of composition and idea. Thumbnailing is really good if you don't know what to do at all, if you just have a vague idea. So it basically can replace your sketching. If you like sketching like I do, big fan of sketching, you can also incorporate this. You could put in a sketch here, really simple line sketch, and then just do this over the sketch. But it kind of is, I don't know, you have to decide for yourself. So I think when I'm doing sketches, I don't need this method, but when I'm not, it's nice, and it's also nice for a change. So what are we doing? So let's start in the middle. You can even name this. You can say what right, and then name this middle, mid, and then name this left. So wow, I suck. Okay, now start in the middle, but it really doesn't matter. So now what I have to do is, like always, I have to make a decision. You know me maybe by now if you have watched any of my other stuff. I'm talking a lot about decision making because that's really to start up an artwork is really one of the most crucial things. So we have a gray that is in the middle, which is very good. It's very neutral. So from this part, what I do is I stack layers on top of each of these sub canvases, to call them that. I could put them into folders, but you don't have to. So what I do is I do a layer, and then I paint on the layer. Let's say I paint a little sky. Right. And for this not to happen, of course, what I'm doing is I'm using clipping masks. So that way, all the clipping masks I stack on this layer, they will just go down to the sub canvas, the middle, and then I'll do the same on the other ones. So we could start this like this, but it is called thumbnailing for a reason, so I will not zoom in there and try to be like complicated or anything, because that defeats the purpose. This is not about being complicated. This is about being simple and making something appear really fast. So what I want to do is, what I need to do actually is I need to decide in my head because what to do. And by that I mean I need a vague idea. And if you struggle with that, it's the same thing. If you sit down with your pen and you're trying to sketch, you need to make up your mind. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a hill, and I'm doing maybe a little from the hill view down to a city, a little sci-fi city maybe. And then maybe there will be some objects, maybe there will be spaceship, a planet, something like that. So it's a long view with a slope, hill, rock formation, some natural structure in the foreground. So that's what I'm going for. You can go ahead and start out with 3 layers. 3 layers is like very classic. It's a background, a midground, a foreground. For starters, that's all you need. So on the background, I did this, what I called before is my sky, even though it doesn't look anything like a sky yet. So And you can do this with various tools. So I like the lasso tool. You might know that about me. But let's just try different tools. So what do I need? I need a foreground, and the foreground will be a natural formation of some kind. So something like this. And of course it will be darker than the sky, and it will also be maybe darker than the midground. So let's go with some 1/3 tonal dark. Gray. We're staying in grayscale for now. It's very easy to get out of grayscale if the image is still simple. And also, I'm not talking too much about the little details. If you want to know about that, watch my some of my tutorials, or watch my basically at this point only real tutorial, which is called The Only Tutorial You Need, and that is like hours of talking about this stuff basically. So yeah, just realizing that this background is a little bit too dark for my taste. So maybe let's do this lighter. Maybe let's also do this in the middle somewhat. Let's see. You can always change it. But yeah, maybe like this, so that you can see that your foreground is actually a little bit darker. But that's a preference thing. You can, if you only want to sketch night stuff, then you might want it like that. So, right, so I have a hill slope, and then maybe there's something natural. Maybe there's bushes, or it could be even a little tree, something like that. And tree would, I don't know, look some. I like Mediterranean trees, but you don't have to use those. We can do an iteration in a second. Maybe there's something else coming in here. We don't know anything by now, remember. So this is just making stuff appear. Why is this so small? Oh yeah. So I'm doing lasso, but at any point you can switch to a brush. I like a brush like this, which has a variation between thick and thin. So especially for this process, if I want to do some branches, I can easily do it. And I can also paint thicker if I need to. Also, then you will have to manage the somewhat of an eraser, because if you don't want certain stuff to appear, then it's good to just be able to erase against it. So now what I like is if there appears detail without me having to work hard for it. So that's a little bit of the also of what I want to happen here. And but then very soon we can switch to the next layer. So this is my foreground, and then there is nothing in the mid as of yet. So and we need to define scale at some point too. So first of all, I said you will look on something like a down like a city. So you can do cities by spamming this stuff. And I didn't plan for any of this, by the way. This is just pure chaos now. I'm just, as always, as I will always say, I'm trying to get of what's logical to me. So rectangular shapes seems logical because I'm going for rectangular structures in the city. So let's see. Also, this needs to be darker than the sky, brighter than the foreground. So in the middle, somewhere. Bigger brush means, yeah, faster filling. So yeah, we got this. Well, this maybe I don't know. This is good. We need more of a foundation for those buildings to reside on, I guess. These are now holes in the canvas. You have to be careful with that. So we could make it super simple. I kind of like this. What's happening here is really good. The middle is good for some reason. And then we can tune this into a little perspective. So let's say here is some buildings, and then this we don't need that either. Maybe not like that. Right, so what we have is a view from here, and it's a pretty even view because I get a new layer just to show you something. So if you need any help, any lines, you can get them. Just make a new layer, and then, for example, we can say, oh yeah, we create a horizon, which is that. I created it by, I mean, it has to be pretty much here, since that is where the city is sitting, or the buildings are sitting. Could be a little bit higher, but couldn't be here, right? So that's out of the question by now. So we can always do this to see what we're doing, and then we could counter check if we're doing some stuff in perspective right or not so right. But that's really not, it's not so important. This method is not to construct things perfectly. So this is more to just eyeball it. So if you need this, if you want, it's good to draw a horizon line once in a while, but more than that, I wouldn't do. It needs to come from you and just from your head, and you don't need to be perfect or anything. So back to the sky. Let's do different brushes. I don't know, let's do crazy brushes. So the bigger your canvases are, the bigger your brushes need to be, obviously, but there's an advantage of that, and that is you have more pixel real estate, really. So that could be a good thing. Now let's try to be painterly a little bit, and then of course we can do all the tricks. We can lock a layer, and then when the layer is locked, we can do some darker tones on it. Wow, this brush is erratic. Okay, so yeah, let's see. So now I'm introducing more tones. Foreground doesn't have any really much more tones, and then I can of course switch brushes. I can let's see if I remember my brushes. So you can also blend, of course, in the foreground something darker now, because maybe it's just darker. Well, this is not good. You have to lock the layer. You have to remember to lock the layer if you do that, so that you don't do what I just did and draw outside of the boundaries, because then you will need to correct it manually, and that is not fun. So yeah, just be aware. The clipping mask plus the lock mechanism is really, really powerful here. So what else? I can of course move the layers. Feel like this layer is too high or anything, I can drag that a little bit. It was sitting okay. Yeah, maybe let's not do this. You could drag the midground a little bit up, that would be good, maybe. And then now I need to unlock before painting some more. So what else? I had a nice brush. Yeah, that's good, like that. So there's certain brushes that you will end up using again and again. I have to concentrate just a little bit. It's on the wrong layer again. So, and then, yeah, that will just make sense. But it has to be brushes that you know how they behave, and but it's also, then again, forget that, it's also a good way of just trying out brushes. So there's that. Locking, if I do something here, because yeah, some trees will be, I guess, darker than the rest, and then at some point it will fall off, I guess. And you have to resist zooming in there. I would say it's better not to do it. So if I want to correct my little tree, I'll try to do it without zooming in. It's a little bit of a complicated one. So, and then also we can add stuff. We can say, okay, how about there is a pathway leading up here, and then that pathway can even be brighter, maybe. And then, and that same way you can introduce, of course, rocks and stuff like that. You then can counter paint. So you will get, yeah, slowly you will get a sense of an environment, maybe. And then we can put a character if we want to. Kids say maybe there's a guy is walking up here, and then maybe he's here. Well, he's going to be a wonky character, I can tell. It's an alien for all I know, so let's see. So yeah, you could have your guy, and then what's in the foreground we're not exactly sure, but then we can basically hop between layers. Go back to the sky and improve the sky, or do some maybe some clouds. Let's do some clouds with another brush, maybe something like this. Maybe this is a cloud already, this shape. And then if we like it, or if we don't like it, in any case, at one point it's good to just do this thing again. Maybe we want something a little bit different. So yeah, I will just hop to, let's hop to the left side for once. Do 3 layers. You can also select them in bulk, create a clipping mask, it will have the same effect. And then, do it again, because I want to see how this concept can be different. Brighter sky, maybe. More diffuse sky. Then let's go, and now I can take color from anywhere I want. I can take color here from the front. Now let's do some higher contrast. So yeah, let's see. I want structure here, and then I want this to be exciting. I want this to rise, maybe like so. And then there will also be a guy. Maybe taller. Maybe right like so. Maybe even have some cloth that is more like, let's see, a little bit more complicated than before. And then maybe he's walking somewhere here. Yeah. Right. So yeah, let's have this appear. And then I want a solid layer here in front, so I want this to be 100% opacity before I then change maybe something like the blending. So let's see. And then once I have this layer, I can of course lock it, and then I can do my thing. I can say, okay, I need some rocks here to be illuminated. Maybe light is coming from the left now, so meaning from here. You can remind yourself of that. Really doesn't matter too much what you're doing, because this is a locked layer, so it will not matter what I do outside the area. So there will be a fall off of light here, shadow. Maybe it's a very more steep light, like this suggests, like sunset almost. So what I'm doing here is I'm imagining how there is parts of the rock formation that is illuminated. Of course, you need to first decide that it is in fact the rock formation, and then you can continue. I'm hiding now a selection, and then I need something to illuminate that. So just like that, we got something that is resembling rocks. It's actually not bad. And then of course we can switch to painting and then just take stuff, and then we still have a selection going on, and no, but we still have a lock going on. So yeah, that we need to then get rid of, and then see. Now the little intricacies, I'm keeping them. I don't know what this guy is up to yet. That's not important. But you can see that it is a guy staring into the distance, like much like the matchstick salesman of old, right? So yeah, some things you always need, you will always have. So now there could be stuff like another. Let's see, actually, if I need to. I want here an area where this emerges from the shadow, maybe like so. You see if that's a good idea. That's now really a rough estimation. Doing more of the soft, more soft brushing. So we could do that, right? So something like this, as simple as that. Could even do that. I don't know yet what that means, but it doesn't matter. There is a solution for a lot of stuff. Could have some illumination here again, or we could continue to have a fall off of some of the detail into just smaller segments. Let's see how this works out. Then we need to have some shadow over here, and then we slowly bring it up. So what I did now, what is untypical, it's not what I recommend either, but it's the beauty about the thumbnails that you can get away with it, and that is I did not really bring the city yet, because I know from the other reference that there will be a city. So if something goes well, like this foreground just did, I really kind of like that. I just keep going for some minutes. Not for some hours though. You have to stop yourself at one point from that. So let's go to the middle, and then let's see. Maybe now I want the city to be really small, and then, well, I will do something more erratic first. I will imagine smaller shapes that emerge out of maybe even maybe that is a mist, gloomy mist, fog thing would also could also bring some smoke or some steam in front later. It would be really cool. Maybe that's good. And I just think what could be the building formation. Make it more even, because now the foreground is much more interesting. And everything, of course, cannot be interesting, so there's that. Maybe avoid painting behind the character yet, and then maybe I need, on top of this, I need some rectangular shapes to make this more city-like. Yeah. You will make them small, thin, let's say. You will get a lot of lines that have rectangular, what would you say, rectangular edges to them, right? So just like that, you can actually do a lot of interesting stuff. Mixing the free lasso with the rectangular lasso basically is what I did. And then now I'll stay on the soft, and I blend in this thing, but it needs to be darker than the darkest version of the sky, else it's very elusive. So it would be pretty much like this, very elusive. But then on some parts I need it to be darker than that. So maybe like this. But then again, it's not so bad to have it elusive. And now you see that I fucked up with the shapes a lot. It's really not like a city at all. So maybe I need to do more of the rectangular lasso, and also painting maybe over some stuff. And then yeah, I need some more meat over there. Not everything can be like dissolving in transparency all the time. Yeah, now I need to. Right. So at one point, this is taking too long, it's too tedious. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to brush. Maybe even brush like this. Yeah, why not? Okay, then what I'm doing is I need to make this more into buildings. And then wherever I like it, I'll keep more of it, and then where I don't like it, like here, I'll paint over more of it, and then I search for shapes that are interesting. But what we need here is we need to really group some of these tones together. It's a little bit too chaotic, I would say. And yeah, I think we need to counter erase this in a second. I need really some, this needs to be more the same. I was a little bit too fancy with the lasso tool there, it happens. And then everything is fancy, and you cannot actually see anything resembling architecture. It was much too little, so That's why I need to go back and get rectangular shapes in here in order to have this be more believable. Because what are the odds that all the architecture is just crooked, right? That's it's really not what's happening most of the time. So yeah, we can paint this, and then I'm going to erase against this to get to get the fogginess back. Right, so yeah, that could be good. And then in the background I can also play around with stuff. Let's do a little bit of an eerie planetary thing, a sphere maybe. Let's do a little sphere that is not the sun. Could be good. So you can also do this with the soft brush, and then we could say, oh yeah, we said light is coming from left there. Where is my sphere? So yeah, light would be coming like this, I guess. Right, and then we can even have a shadow. Yeah. How much you want to render this is up to you, but well, I'm just trying to say out loud what I'm thinking about this process, about the structure that I'm trying to do. Right, so we have another version. And then sometimes you need something fancy, so I'm creating a new layer, new clipping mask. Need something to be even in front of that thing. And then let's try steamy stuff. I made a steam brush once. Yeah, all right. So could be something like this. You can also erase with a brush like this, but you need to know what's happening. You need to know what's happening with your brush to not have a surprise there, trying to lock it and get some highlights. Works. So also, yeah, I forget which position those brushes are, but don't get me wrong, I made all these brushes myself, so I know, once I know what brush I have, I know exactly how it behaves. So yeah, could be like this. And yeah, you can even make more changes. Now if you want to, we can introduce some, break up this scene also with some plants. Maybe there's only a little bit of a grass in between the rocks. That could happen. So make it quite a different set than this first one. A much more barren land, and I like those little, I don't know, dry bushes. Let's call them that. Let's see if that looks any good. So as you can see, I'm combining any brushes that I want here. Now bushes are dark, right? And then deselecting this. Going back to this middle, this is still a little bit loud, I would say. A little bit loud, but I like the tonal difference over here. That's fine. Yeah, maybe not do that. Maybe keep this light from the left, remember, maybe we incorporated that with some brighter strokes for the architecture. And then soft round, hard edge, soft round. Blend this down, make this more the same. Maybe even that even comes down here in some fashion. I like that. And then we can erase again to take off the edge here. And we can also soft brush here if we want to. Could also do that to really soften, like how this dissolves into the steam. Then we have still some contrast left. I wanted to do this more high contrast. That of course we can still do. So in the back here there's still the option of doing that. The sky, that is. So this I would not do. But yeah, this. And what you can see is that every decision I make, it's very easy to make it a big decision because like it's a small thumbnail, even though it has a lot of resolution to it, but it's still a small, rather small thumbnail. So I can go into the front, just lock it, and then just tone this down with a soft little bit, say. So yeah, this is, yeah. This could be done, and then we'll proceed. Make that same thing again. 1, 2, 3. Have ourselves a clipping mask. So now I'm thinking to myself, what can we do differently? And the answer is we can make the foreground more boring. Let's do a foreground that is more this is interesting. That was a complete accident because I just released I released in where I should not have released, and it just connected stuff that I did not expect to happen. So but let's work with that. Let's see if we can do like rocks that are around it. That would be cool, I think. So rounded rocks. And maybe this time we're not so up on the hill. Maybe we're down and then the city is up. That would be also cool. So let's try it. First, establish opacity. Second, now this looks like rocks in water almost. So I could behind that make something that is brighter. So then what I would get is something like this, right? And then I could decide for it to be brighter if I want to. And I think it should be. Maybe like this, for starters. So now I basically did now 2 layers for the foreground, which is not an issue because they can be, of course, combined. Just merge them, make new layer in between. There's we have the same order again. So now I'll postpone the sky. So let's now do a little bit. Let's now do some buildings. Maybe we do some towers. Because there's towers, maybe do more, or maybe not. Maybe do something that is not as symmetrical. So something that is not as symmetrical would be something like this. Maybe we have a wall-style city. And then there's little towers coming out. And then, well, maybe that's a little bit what happens here. But then we can now change that and make this foreground a little bit more not foreground, midground, excuse me. So make the midground a little bit more interesting. And let's see, maybe there's antennas. And maybe there is one building that is taller than the other buildings. Right, so need to bring it very flat. This is not even some special brush. It's okay. See how this sky is now more dark in dark. I don't know if I want it like that, but yeah, we could say maybe we blend a little bit here, get some range going. Maybe like this, and maybe we take this and up it, make it really high, or make it low. I don't know. Yeah, let's make it high. Let's make it high. I think I want something in there. I want in there something like another structure, maybe an object, maybe a spaceship, something like that. That would be cool. Let's do a little bit of painting on this. So you have to respect a little bit your perspective that you're setting up, and for that you need a little bit of practice. And also I plan on doing a perspective tutorial sometime soon, where I explain how you really can be really aware of perspective and how to set up even viewing angles and stuff like that. This is very subtle. This is too subtle, I feel. Yeah, we need, this is too much the same. So it's too much the same. We need a little change in some direction. Maybe like this. Maybe counter this again here. And now let's bring an object, I think. We don't have a guy as of right now, but we could have an object. Let's see. Need this to be a clipping mask. Object could be how about a little spaceship flying low? So something like it's the opposite of what I was going for. Of course, you could make a shape and then mirror that shape if that really works for you. That would be also a really good option of how to do it. Not too sure if this is any good or not. I don't want to make it too boring, but I don't want to make it too fuzzy either. So let's see. Needs to be darker, of course, because it's in front, it's more contrast in front. So now we have something like this, which is not too bad. And then we could do, for example, not that this is very important here, but we could mirror that. I could just, mirror this side and then have it symmetrical again. Yeah. Fastest way to do is just to transform, flip horizontal. Do we do that? No. Flip horizontal, and then once you're happy, you merge that and you continue painting. Oh, this is soft brush, it's no good. So now we could have that, but then there's the other problem that now we're like, this is just that center from behind, which is not so exciting, I guess. So if we want something else, something different from that, we would have to give this have this lean towards a direction, and then that would make it slightly more asymmetrical again, of course. So let's try this quickly, giving this a nose, and then yeah, now it's going to the left, right? So at least I guess. So what is also cool in this thumbnailing thing is that you can just, you're really fast, you're getting really fast results. So now I need, let's see, how about this? Just two drives, two engines, maybe there's a beam coming out. We'll see. Making now a little bit of an effect layer. Just want to see how this goes if I do that. That could be good. And then we erase against it, maybe. Because this cannot be too super fancy. This can, yeah, this cannot be too complicated or anything. We need to stay inside the language that we established here. Have one more slightly blending towards the camera, maybe like that. And then, yeah, let's see, do darkness over here. We need some dark parts, like where the engine is located, or where there is the chassis is just getting shadow, something like that. I don't know, guys, this is spontaneous stuff. But yeah, I hope we're getting somewhere. And yeah, let's see, I think it's good enough. Almost. So hide it, go darker, not quite as dark. Also lock the freaking layer. So now we get some, no, that's not good. See, that's really not good, because I was not thinking about that actually, because of course this was like the drives were on the same layer. So I have to overpaint this again. So just be aware, that's what happens sometimes. I need to be aware. Right, that's what we did. And then well, I could have done more shading. Could have done it like that too. Really tone it down here. It's not letting me for some reason. Oh yeah, that's why. Do we have a selection? No, I don't think so. Yeah, now it's working. Okay, so that's what I wanted, a little bit more of. And then have to counter this again, because, but as you can see, that still is easy to do, fairly easy. So no need to worry there. And then we can hop back into the mid, and then I don't know where is light coming from. Maybe that's night. That's the most night of all of them, I think. So let's do some structures in that give this some depth, maybe. See how this goes. Well, yeah, this layer is actually locked, so there's no problem here. Could go over. I just want some shadows to happen. I don't even know yet exactly where the light is coming from. Maybe it's just like bounce lighting at night. Could be the case. So let's see. I'm hiding the layer more and more just so I see what I get, and then see if I get away with stuff like this. Now erasing you cannot do with a lock intact because you will get white. Oh yeah, also you cannot do it at all because that's not a separate layer. We need to counterpaint this. So yeah, this is, and then lock the layer if we don't want that to happen, I guess. And then we can of course get a guy. Now we're amassing a little bit layers here, which is not a real problem. So we could have people here. Maybe we have small people, and right. You could also have a bunch of people. See how they look. And then maybe so very different things. Of course, we can theoretically, I can do stuff like this. I can take an object, duplicate the layer, and just bring this somewhere else. Where is the left? Bring this here. Right. Now, there is also pretty nice. You can just, of course, we need to control this, but once we painted one thing, really nothing to say that we cannot put this back. Now, more contrast means it's in front of the city, and less contrast means it's behind the city, which will make it even larger. I think it needs to be in between, like so. Right. So now, let's see. It's okay. We have some people. Those people are not yet clipping masks. The effect is not a clipping mask. I kind of, yeah. It was just our horizon. I could do the horizon for the other layers too. I could say, okay, of course I now did this intuitively, but it really wouldn't hurt to say, okay, there's a horizon here, and then there's probably a horizon here, which that means there, like if I ever want to add mountains, It's good to know, right, where there could be a horizon. And here it's more shallow. It's more down. Makes this more imposing. But this is just a layer. Let's call this a layer for our thoughts on the world, the rules, horizon, all of that. So yeah, this is not crucial to have, as you can see, because it's really stuff is not so complicated, and then we can easily go and correct stuff or shift it around. Now maybe we need a little bit more contrast here. Maybe we need to contrast where the people are, because now that there's people, we can just bring them into the scene a little bit better. It's a little interesting brush that just breaks up. It gives you the impression of some rock, some detail going on when there's really not a lot of detail at all, but it's nice. But again, this kind of stuff, it's like that is the thing that you need to experiment and work to get experience with the brushes, with the brushwork. That I cannot just say the words and you will be able to do it. That's not how it works. So yeah, we had here some of the fog, the steam. We could put that behind here also. That would work. Maybe then that's something like for the ship. Ship interacts with that fog. It could happen. And then in this case, I'm doing that brighter. Maybe like so. And then yeah, a lot of times if you do that, you also need some darkness to counter that, because it's just unlikely that it's only illuminated fog. It should be something dark also. So yeah, but you can just go crazy here, basically, with the brushes. Because it's a new layer, you're not destroying anything. You have to remind yourself of that. That's now what I'm going for, is that feeling that like the exhaust, like the god damn it, how is this called? The boost from the ship is illuminating the fog, and yeah, that's really what I want. But you can't overdo it. If you do too much, it will no longer look good and look natural. So yeah. And this we can lock it and then see if maybe it's not so dark everywhere. Right. And then maybe sky could be even darker. Maybe I keep clouds, I keep the same brush, do some clouds. Could be like that. And yeah, so now I keep using the cloud brush, quotation marks cloud brush. See what happens. Also, there is something, of course, before we end this, like a smudge tool, which is always cool to have. So you can go and do this. Which is kind of awesome. But again, what you use on that in terms of brush tip shape, because you can use any with the smudge tool, and what intensity, on which layers, you have to experiment with that. That's not something I can just I can teach you like from nowhere. That's not possible. So this can break up shapes, of course, and then even do little effects. Let's try and get the. It's kind of cool. So yeah, that's I think that a lot. This is too much. Can't smudge everything. It's not good. You can smudge the effect though. That sometimes is awesome. Watch this. Right? So you have 3 little images, grayscale images. They are, but nonetheless, let's go back here. I think you understood by now what this is about. This is about making fast images. And of course, you will not immediately hop into this and make something great. It's not happening. But I think we have established that by having 3 simple layers, and then like we're still on 3 layers in here, in the middle one, and also you can see that there's a progression. I made this first, and I made this, and then I made this, and then I mixed them a little bit. So naturally, during the session, you should get a little bit better. You should get better judgment, better brushwork down, have some nice accidents that inspire you to do different things. So, but you can see there's the same idea and 3 results, which those are basically the iterations I was talking about earlier. So from this, if you like any of this, it would be now very easy to blow this up and continue painting and make this a whole image, especially if you have some pixels to work with, which we do, because every single image, remember, is 3000 pixels every side. So that's not a small image by no means. So yeah. So yeah, we're done for today. Let's have a look at these in a little bit bigger. First was this, right? Well, gets too big, you will see the imperfections of the brush really well, but you can also see that even if this is bigger, it's still pretty okay, it holds up. And that is because we have some pixel real estate. And now, closer, we even see some details that we could not even see from the distance, which is also interesting. Yeah. This might be my favorite of today's session. Let me know what you think. And yeah. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me for this quick session. Well, not so quick session after all. A little bit more than 1 hour. We did 3 thumbnails. I showed you how I do it, showed you my process. Of course, as I said it earlier in Photoshop, I will do a little more. I will do 1 more video at least about thumbnailing, because there is other techniques that are more intricate that you can use for your thumbnails to set yourself up to have a really easy time of making this a full image once you decide you like your thumbnail, which I think is an amazing technique, because like a lot of good people say, and my professor used to say this, if it's not good small, if it's not good simple, then it's not good when it's big, and it's not good when it's more complicated. It needs to be good when it's small. Any good image that you watch it small as a thumbnail, it should be compelling. It should be a good image. And this is what I want to leave you with today. That is exactly why this is a great technique. So Anyways, guys, your comments down below. See you next time. Take care.